Nothing much, man. First off, I want you to start by telling the people who you are.
Cool. My name is Terry Joshua. I'm a visual artist from Cleveland. These two paintings right here are my latest works. You can find me on Instagram at Terry the Don, and then for my website it's Art by Terry Joshua.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So first and foremost, man, do you have day-to-day challenges when it comes to these paintings?
Definitely. It's an uphill battle each time I try to create something for sure.
So when it comes to like the start of it, like what's the first thought process before you even touch the canvas?
I listen to a lot of music. I love conversations, and I think that with my artwork, I'm trying to express a lot of things that happened to my childhood or inner turmoil that I don't speak on. I think a lot of people don't know how to express themselves naturally to other people, so we usually use our gifts to be the way to showcase the things that's unsaid. So that's what's going on with my artwork, and I think that it could be sparked by anything. It could be from a conversation. It could be from me eating some food and then I start thinking about something. It's just all very much so dependent on the day.
All right, man. So with this piece right here, first, what's the name of this piece?
Dance with Satan.
Could you explain this for me?
Yeah, for sure. So I believe that a lot of people have things that are unsaid and it causes a lot of problems for them. And I think that if we was to be direct with ourselves, we would probably get better results with our life. But instead we run away. And with that, we are choosing to let ourselves be our own downfall. And they say that Satan is an adversary. And I believe that a lot of people are their own Satan. They're choosing to be their own demise. So that's what that means. So you dance with Satan, eventually you'll step on your own toes. You know, you choose to be unproductive, you choose to not be disciplined, you're going to have a downfall. And it's going to usually be self-destructive. So.
Absolutely. And I even see some of the details in it where you got your logo within the boxing gloves and your name as well. How important is your name for you, man, as an artist?
It's my legacy, and I believe that I'm not just myself. Nothing about me is singular. I think that's for anybody. I think that we're representations of our family. You know, my mother, all the problems that she dealt with to get me to this point. I need to become something. So with that, my name, it holds weight in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I just want other people to be able to experience it and realize that I have something to showcase and I can hopefully help somebody.
For sure, man. You gotta have that confidence in it. You gotta make sure your name hold that weight. Moving on to the next piece right here with this beautiful young lady. Could you explain this and what's the title of it and what's the meaning behind it?
Yep. So this one is called Golden Eyes. The muse is my friend Yedaya. I was trying to find an image of a girl with bantu knots. I think that that's a very Afrocentric hairstyle. And I was trying to find a couple of them. And in the midst of me trying to find it, my friend Yedaya called me and she was saying how she needed to get her hair done. So I took her to get her hair done. When she came back, she had bantu knots. And I was like, whoa, this is really crazy. So I'm looking at her, I'm like, can I take some pictures of you? I took the pictures. And as I was looking at it, I realized I had something. So I made the painting. And black women are the only people in the world that has this gene called the Eve gene, and the Eve gene has every single race found in the world. It's only found in black women. So that's why I chose to have the different skin tones. In the midst of her being black, she has so many different variations. And then outside of that, if you look, it's a white box that she is not fully inside of. And that's supposed to represent European standards. If you're a black person, you're not gonna ever be able to fall in line with that stuff because it's just not naturally us. You know, so with that, she's breaking the mold. And that's why if you look, it's actual cracks and speckles, and if you feel the texture, it's something more. So, yeah, and then if you look right here, it's outsiders that's looking, going. Some may be taking pictures, some may be actually interested, but they always stay far. They'll never get too close.
Bro, is that a telescope that you're
It's a telescope. So people they sit down, they're waiting to look, but they never get too close to where they can actually experience the beauty of it all.
That's dope. So now speaking of that white box that society put on our peoples, let's break down some of those stereotypes that comes along with being black and being a black woman in general that we see that our black women experience.
I believe that modern day feminism comes from European women who had problems with their European men. And a lot of black women chose to fall in line with these standards, and it's not helping us. It was a woman named Shahrazad Ali. She was this African woman, and she wrote this book. It was basically a self-help book for men to understand the black woman. And what she was saying was that women are starting to fall in line with more masculine identity, and in doing so, it's causing more friction in the community. I don't believe that families in the black community is going to be a thing in the next 30 to 40 years, because off the simple fact, women want to be men, and men want to be women. And with that being said, we're out of line, and it's not going to help us in the long run. But if we start talking like that, we're talking about reason. People fall in line with their emotions usually. So I try to stay away from talking about it.
Staying away from the emotions.
Yeah, people get offended easily. So yeah.
But what need to be said need to be said. At
Definitely.
the end of the day, regardless if they agree or not agree.
I believe wholeheartedly. So yeah.
So this question is kind of broad, but I feel like it'll be a good one. Why do we create art?
I can't talk for everybody, but I know on my end, I never felt confident enough to talk about what was really going on, even as a kid. I think with dealing with a single parent, it's a lot of things that children choose to suck up because they love their parent. So even if they feel pain, even if they want to talk about things that hurt them, they choose not to because they know that their mother or father, whatever the case may be, has so many pressures. And that was me. I never talked about my pain. What I did do, I usually smiled. I made people laugh, you feel me? I made other people feel comfortable because I wasn't. And I had this opportunity to make artwork. And my artwork was always a little bit more melancholy. Because I think in my heart of hearts, I'm not too happy when it comes to a lot of stuff. And my artwork at an early age was my way to express it. So if you look, a lot of my early images when I was 11 or 12, nobody was smiling. Nobody was smiling. But it made me feel good because I was able to express it. So that's what I create.
Right. So moving on in the future, as you continue to succeed as an artist, do you think that you'll start progressing to find those people in your artworks that start smiling and?
I pray to God so. I mean, I think anybody that chooses to have an art form, your art form is a direct representation of who you are. And if you look, for the most part, all my artwork, if you look at it from the outskirts, everything seems so vibrant, it seems beautiful, it seems expressive. But if you stare into these people's hearts, if you look at their eyes, it is something more to it. And it's a sadness that is a through line with all my artwork. It's sadness and lust. Those are the two things that I think is like my two Achilles heels. And I hope that one day it's gonna stop. But until then, it's inspiring me. So we're gonna turn this darkness into light.
For sure. Next, what's your source of self-worth? Like, where do you feel like that confidence necessarily comes from?
I think discipline has a very, very huge part in how we view ourselves. I get very much so depressed. Now at 21 years old, I get depressed when I'm not working. And now I'm talking about like when I'm working 24/7, but if I'm not trying to strive for a goal, it makes me very much so irritated. And I've done for many months, I would choose to be comfortable and it would mess me up in the long run. So now with me becoming more disciplined and understanding, it's this thing called delayed gratification. It's been able to really help me with keeping my confidence high and feeling as though that I'm working towards something. Because if we're not, human beings usually fall to the wayside. They say people without a vision are people who will die. And it's truthful. We need to have something that we're trying to succeed and become or whatever the case may be. So my confidence comes from my aspirations.
Right. And so you said it's called delayed gratification?
Yeah.
Could you go into depth about that? Like, what exactly is delayed gratification?
Delayed gratification is this idea that came from a study where these different children, and they had to come into this room, and the premise was the child's going to sit there for 15 minutes. If the child stays put and they don't eat this cookie that's sitting there with them, they'll get more cookies. And what they say to the mother or father will say, hey, I'm going to be right back. Stay here. I'm going to give you more. Just sit down and wait. So what they did was they watched to see what the kids would do for the 15 minutes. Some kids would try to find ways to maybe change their mind so they could think about different things. Some kids, as soon as the person left, they immediately grabbed the cookie and ate it. And after that trial or test run, they watched those kids progress for 30 or 40 years, and they looked to see who became successful, who didn't. And for the most part, the kids who decided to wait, those are the kids who became successful. They had great college experiences, blah, blah, blah. The ones who chose to hurry up and eat that cookie, they are people who did not progress in this lifetime to a point where they would feel as though they did something correct. And that's what delayed gratification is to suffer in the beginning so you can have what you want later down the line. And that's what I've been trying to practice. I think being in your 20s, everybody and their mama tell you that this is time for you to enjoy yourself, go party. And I disagree wholeheartedly. This is time for us to work. So when we're 30 or 40, we can chill, we can have a family, we can be financially successful in our own viewpoint because it's all subjective. But if you don't work now, you're going to be working in your 40s. You're going to be sad. You're going to be depressed. And it's gonna be your fault. I don't care if you're black or white. People who choose to not be self-sufficient, it's on them. It has nothing to do with nobody else. And I'm damn sure not gonna be that person. So I'm working.
Yeah, I feel it. I needed that, bro. Because it's like at 17 right now, you see everybody kicking it. You see everybody going to parties, doing this, that, and the third. But
they're gonna be failures. And not everybody, but the majority of them are, because they have no discipline.
Right.
And that's problematic. A lot of people who go to these schools, their parents will engineer them to go to school, get good grades. They have no social awareness of themselves. They can't hold a conversation. They don't know how to actually educate themselves outside of a person institutionalizing them. And they're going to fail. A lot of people are not going to make it in this lifetime. And it starts from choosing to be different from the herd. It don't happen often, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
So it's kind of like finding that diamond in the rough. Like, it's always that one.
That will make it, and it's unfortunate, but that's just how the game goes. A lot of this is about survival at the end of the day. And a lot of people don't realize that we're in a game, and if you don't choose to play the game and try to win, you're gonna fall to the wayside. This is just how it is. A lot of people try to say, woe is me. Nobody's gonna care about that when you're 30.
Right.
You know?
Back to this piece right here. This white box. Now, with these standards and these stereotypes, what do you think is the ideal government for us as a society?
I don't got it in me. I really don't know right now. I know for a fact that capitalism is a lot more sufficient for the people than a socialist society. And socialism, you're not. When socialism, because it's only a different form. It's only a couple forms of government we can have: capitalism, a capitalistic society, a communist society, or a socialist society. If it's going to be socialist, everybody's money's going to be dispersed to everybody, which means that nobody can actually. It's going to be a cap for how successful you can become financially. I don't think that's fair. I think that if a person works hard, they should be able to deserve what they want.
Absolutely.
If it's going to be a communist country, the government is owning everything that you do. That's what you're seeing in China. That's why these people can't have a multitude of kids. They only can, I think, have one or two. I don't want that. So I'd rather have capitalism. Have people exploited the system for their own gain and have used people to get what they want, yes. But I believe if people can have the opportunity to be people, a lot of people are going to do wrong, a lot of people are going to do right. And that's the human condition. If we're trying to say it's going to be a utopia, you're going to have to murder people. And I don't agree with that. I think that people should be able to choose.
All right. So going back to the conversation we had earlier, along with music, we steering away. We going to another form of art. Now, when you listen to music, give me 5. I need 5 inspirations. I need 5 artists off the top of your head that you listen to.
Kendrick Lamar, Amy Winehouse, Biggie, Sampha, and that 5th one would be D'Angelo. It would be D'Angelo. Yeah, I love Voodoo. That's one of my favorite albums.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That one caught me off guard. I ain't gonna lie.
D'Angelo is an amazing artist. I think that music is like, it's a portal into a person's mind. You know, it's so many layers to it. You have the instrumentation, you have the cadence of the voice, and you have the lyrics. And then it all becomes one. And then you have these songs that could stick with you for the rest of your life. That's amazing to me. Because I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, you know what I'm saying? My mom didn't let me be out around a lot of people because she always told me I was special. So I didn't get to be able to experience a lot. But what I did have was music. I didn't have a father, but my father's was the music. It was the music I was listening to. So any artists that I latched on to, these are the people that became my peers, and they sculpted my mind. So I love music.
For sure, man. Music is the most inspirational thing out right now. If it's nothing else that can get you up off your feet, it's music. It's the vibrations in it that they put that spirit in you, though.
It does.
So, now, you know where I'm going with this. This last album by this particular artist, J. Cole. Jermaine.
Right.
Cole. Now, you said you didn't like the off season, and I brought you here today to tell me why.
I don't think J. Cole is honest. I don't think J. Cole is one of the best rappers alive. That's just on my personal viewpoint. I think he's a great artist for the most part. But if we're talking about like full-blown discographies, his best work, in my personal opinion, is Friday Night Lights. And then when it comes to his albums sometimes are either lukewarm or they're pretty okay. Now, a lot of people like Forest Hill Drive, in my personal opinion, you can't listen to that fully. I don't think that a lot of those songs age really that well, but a lot of songs are gems. Like, for instance, on For Your Eyes Only, he has a lot of cuts where it puts me in like this, it puts me in a space where I'm like, wow, this is amazing. But this album ain't do it for me, dog. It was too much 808s. I like samples and stuff like that.
So the thing with this album specifically is that it's different. He changed up his style. He changed up his rhythm because I feel like he did fall into that kind of trap where everybody was saying
he's a snoozer. Yeah, all this other stuff. Yeah.
But For Your Eyes Only, in my opinion, is his best album. That's the album that I sat with the most, and that's the album that helped me through my depression and helped me create. So, for sure, For Your Eyes Only is the number
She's
one.
Mine 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's for sure.
If I have a daughter, I'm playing that. I'm playing that. Oh my God,
for sure. But as far as the off season, I ain't forget about that. Now, he got so many punchlines in this album that's so different from the rest of his albums. I feel like this may be his rising though. This may be the part where J. Cole starts to become mainstream and starts to win these awards and stuff like that. Where I'm getting at is
it might be true.
It might be his best album. It might be.
A lot of people are saying that.
Yeah, it might be.
It is so subjective, so I'm not even tripping about it. I'm gonna try to listen to it again. I think I listened to it a total of maybe 2 times fully and maybe like 4 times on and off. And I wasn't really that interested. I don't know. See, this is my real thing. I've been really getting heavy into Dipset recently.
Yeah.
So when I heard Killer Cam,
was on there hot.
You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking of samples. You feel me? I'm thinking of Dipset Forever. Yeah. I'm thinking of Get 'Em Girl. So that's where my mind at, right? Yeah. And then when I'm listening to J. Cole album, it didn't get to me. It didn't get me to that point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It felt like it was like right here, and it didn't fully. So that's my spiel.
For sure. So
what's your favorite song on there?
Man, 100 Mil, or it has to be. Man, it's crazy because I can't even think of the tracks right now. The one with My Life.
My Life was a good one. I can't lie, that was a good one. That was a good one.
No, Punch in the Clock. That's the one.
Okay.
Punch in the Clock is the one. It's that sample in the beginning.
No, the sample fire on that one. Yeah. I will say that.
It's a sample of Dame in the beginning that's just like, oh, I'm about to turn up. Like it's that time.
Have you listened to Shivari?
No.
So he had in that For Your Eyes Only, he had a sample that was he had a snippet of a song that was in that documentary he did For Your Eyes Only. And it was like something like he was giving this example of a boy in the ghetto, but he was almost like a representative of like a modern day Jesus. And the song is about a modern day black boy who is from a virgin, blah blah blah. He gets killed by the government, and it's an amazing song. Me personally, I think it's kind of blasphemous because I don't know to play with that. But the song itself is beautiful because the storytelling is really good. I wish that would have been on the album, but it wouldn't work with the context of that. But he has another album coming out called I think it's like The Fall Off. The Fall
Off. Well, it's
something like that.
It's something like My Boy or The Boy, and then it's The Fall Off. He dropped like
he dropped a little calendar. Yeah, you're right.
So
so I'm hoping the best for those albums.
So the way I was able to resonate with this album, I rode around the city listening to it. Just because he said he tweeted and he rode around the city, I tried. And that's when I started liking the album. I'm like, oh, this one of them albums where you just gotta it gotta grow.
Let it ride, yeah.
You gotta let it ride.
That's fair.
Man. So I appreciate you for stopping through, man. I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna let you go. I ain't gonna take too much more of your time, man, for sure. Man. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Tune in to The Sit Down every 2 weeks on YouTube at The Sit Down. Follow my mans at Terry the Don. Follow me
Instagram
at Jamal Ladante on Instagram, PVO Mall on Twitter. Rebranding. We coming soon. Free thinkers. We out.